Today we're going to be comparing a pair of smaller strollers, the Babyzen Yoyo 2 and the Bugaboo Bee 6. To my mind, these strollers occupy quite different categories, not only with regards to size and weight, but also in terms of how they should be used. However, since we have received repeated requests for their comparison, and since Babyzen actively advertises the Yoyo 2 as a regular daily use type model, we've decided to throw it in the ring with a model from the next weight class up and see how it competes. In a way, it's understandable why people consider these two as competitors, as the Yoyo 2 is incredibly strong for its size on the one hand, while on the other, when looking at certain attributes of the B6, like the shopping basket, the handle height, and the relatively small folded size, it's not immediately clear that the B6 is that much larger. Besides, both models have been around for a really long time, and have well-established reputations on the larger market. In comparing them though, I do need to note right from the beginning that to do this fair it's important to compare them for the use to which they are being considered by potential purchasers, meaning not as travel strollers, but rather as regular daily use models expected to perform over a prolonged period of time with everyday weight stresses and under real world conditions. So let's get started then, beginning with the B6. The B6 clocks in at 10.5 kilos and folds down to 90 by 47 by 36 centimeters with the seat attached. It can take up to 22.6 kilos in the seat and 4 kilos in the underslung shopping basket. As far as the seat is concerned, the base and backboards of the B6 are built to expand telescopically to better fit your child as he or she grows, and in their longest extension, the seat is average size for its class, capable of accommodating a child in good comfort up until at least 2.5 years old or so. Older children will fit as well, but the seat will probably begin to feel a tad cramped. The B6's seat offers a good range of features and configurations for a stroller of its size, and has a full recline, a reversible seat, a swiveling bumper bar, and a clever harness that holds the shoulder and side belts extended outwards for easier accessibility. Textile-wise, the B6's fabrics consist of quality materials with good padding and are designed to maximize airflow from ventilation grates incorporated into the seat frame. With regards to sun shading, the B6 has an extra section zipped into the back of the canopy, which, when extended, allows for excellent coverage. A bassinet is also available for the B6, and with decent wheel size and longer adapters for fixing it to the chassis, the bassinet sits at an acceptable height for daily use. When it comes to parent comfort and overall functionality, the B6 has an extendable handle and a self-standing, one-hand capable one-piece fold, achievable with the seat in either the forward or reverse facings. The price of these functions, plus those of the extendable reversible seat, is complexity. And like most of Bugaboo's models these days, the B6 will take a bit of learning before you are fully comfortable with it. In addition, most of the functions that you will regularly use, folding it up and down, reversing the seat, and so on, require multiple steps. And since the model is built in a pretty lightweight fashion, especially the seat unit, which is predominantly made of plastic, and consists of many moving points meant to work symmetrically, a certain amount of care with regards to force and weight capacity, as well as maintenance in the form of lubrication, are required to keep it working properly. And this leads directly into how one should view the B6 with regards to longevity. It's all about how you treat it. In general, as with previous B models, the chassis, though it tends to loosen a bit over time as a result of its open hinge design, is quite strong, while the seat unit, by contrast, with its long layered plastic mechanisms, is weaker, and tends to be the element that develops problems most often over time, as well as being the component that generally breaks as a result of accidents. That being said though, I still see B3 models from several years back all the time, and I even still get the occasional B Plus or original B in the workshop with repairable problems. When it comes to drivability, the B6 is built for urban conditions, meaning sidewalks and roads and so on, though it is also capable of handling environments slightly rougher than this for limited stretches, like gravel, lawns, well-maintained dirt roads, and cobblestones. The key term here, though, is limited stretches, as in not a regular and constant part of your environment. If you live in the center of an older European city, surrounded by a sea of cobblestones, for example, this model is not for you. Such environments will always feel a bit more jumpy and jarring than smooth terrain to a model like the B6, and over time, this does cause wear. But the point is that unlike with a lot of smaller models, these conditions are still doable with the B6, when you have to, which is a result of several mechanical factors, including the B6's rather decent suspension, its 7-inch wheels, and the presence of spring-loaded pads on the front wheel forks which mitigate damage caused by the locking axles. Okay, let's move on and have a look at the Yoyo 2 then. The Yoyo 2 folds down to 52 by 44 by 18 centimeters and weighs 6.2 kilos. It can take 22 kilos in the seat and 5 kilos in the underslung shopping basket. Regarding the seat, as far as size is concerned, the Yoyo 2 is slightly smaller than the B6, but not by so much that it will make a considerable difference in terms of age span, perhaps reducing the period of maximum comfort by 6 months or so. And, while certainly not cheap feeling, textile-wise, it's definitely a bit Spartan in comparison to the B6, a bit rougher, and with less padding. It's also significantly less adjustable, in that the seat is not reversible, the recline, while acceptable in my opinion, is not full, and the bumper bar is not included with purchase. In addition, the Yoyo 2's canopy is shorter than on the B6, providing less coverage without that extra extendable section, and the bassinet sits lower and feels less secure in my opinion, just due to the overall fragile feel of the Yoyo 2's smaller chassis. When it comes to parent comfort and ease of use, the Yoyo 2 is excellent in what it does. Its handle is nearly as high as the B6, though it's non-adjustable, and the overall feeling of use follows the strengths of the Yoyo design, being its sturdiness, its symmetry, and its dominant characteristic, which is its simplicity. In fact, when it comes down to it, the Yoyo 2 really has only 4 functions. You can flip it open, adjust the seat with a basic draw strap, flip it closed, and suspend it from your shoulder with its handy shoulder strap. That's it. That's the basic Yoyo. You can buy a wide range of doodads, and some of which, like the adjustable leg rest, are pretty handy. But most of the rest, the bassinet, the wheeled bag, or the wheeled board for example, all make the model worse in my opinion. Either by adding weight, which strains the chassis, removing its smooth and stable feeling, especially when negotiating terrain such as curbs or uneven sidewalks, or by simply removing the model's main positive, which is that ability to flip it closed, hang it from your shoulder, and forget about it when you don't need it. Moving on then to the overall longevity of the Yoyo 2, I would start by saying that as an ultra compact, the Yoyo 2 is built with an efficiency of design and a quality of materials that remains unparalleled within its own class. In fact, here in Norway, it's even quite common to rent the model for holiday use, but using the Yoyo 2 for vacationing, even on a repeat basis, is entirely different than what is regularly expected out of a model like the B6, meaning all-day, everyday use for years with a growing child, with groceries, and over terrain a step more rugged than one finds in airports or at Disneyland. Interestingly, in contrast to the Yoyo 2, I generally rate the B6 as a bit weak in its own class, but load them both up with a 2-year-old, pile on some groceries, and send both over the same uneven sidewalk and a few patches of cobblestones or gravel for 6 hours a day for a year or 18 months, and in the end, it will much more likely be the Yoyo 2 with failing ball bearings and loose and rickety connection points. The model may not be unusably broken after such use, it's pretty strong, but it'll be the worse for wear. Given the same weight, terrain, and intensity of use, the B6 can be judged as having better longevity simply because it is bigger. It has nearly twice the weight, while with the Yoyo 2, the bars are just necessarily thinner, the connections are less substantial, and there are fewer resources of weight and space allocated to the wheels and suspension. Lastly then, let's finish off the Yoyo 2 with its driving abilities, and despite its very solid wheels and decent suspension relative to its size, again, when we're talking about the strains and stresses of weight, terrain, and continuous use that one expects a model like the B6 to bear, the Yoyo 2 just can't compete, in 2 main areas. First, being those often unavoidable rough patches of cobblestones or other bumpy terrain, which will be somewhat unpleasant with a B6, but will often be something you can't wait to get off of with the Yoyo 2. And second, being wear, because the Yoyo 2 will again wear down faster under such conditions, simply because it has less to protect it on all levels. Less overall chassis strength, less suspension, smaller wheels, and so on. So, which one of these 2 should you buy? For all-day, daily use conditions such as I've described so far, it should be clear that my recommendation would be the B6, but there are definitely some caveats to this. Firstly, the B6 is not my favorite small-size daily use model, so even for these sorts of conditions, I feel that there are better options out there. Secondly, just because the Yoyo 2 won't provide the same benefits or tolerate the same stresses as the B6 does not necessarily mean that it's exclusively for travel. There are a few lifestyles out there for which it will work quite well. A good rule of thumb here is to look at the basic Yoyo 2 and judge whether it is ideal for how you intend to use it as it is. If you need to buy extra accessories, including the bassinet, then the Yoyo 2 is not for you, in my opinion. This is because the Yoyo 2 is not a pack llama, it's a ninja. Its true value is in its ability to jump in and out of the shadows, to be available when you need a stroller, and to be as unobtrusive as possible when you don't. And the people who will find the Yoyo 2 most valuable as their primary stroller will have lifestyles that reflect this, such as living in smooth, modern environments with crowded or otherwise stroller-unfriendly public transport, or having a primarily car-based lifestyle but with very limited trunk space. You need the stroller, and the Yoyo 2 jumps in. You need to not have the burden of a stroller, and the Yoyo 2 becomes just a second purse. In any case, we hope you found this video interesting, and if you did, we ask that you subscribe, as it helps us to continue making videos in the future. In addition, if you are currently shopping for a stroller, we have a buyer's guide on our Patreon page which lists a wide range of models that we recommend, with a lot of technical and lifestyle related information. You can find it by following the link in the description. Thank you.